Question number 7. We have the graph here that we want to create an equation for, or write an equation for this graph of a function. So first, let me determine the graph of the function belongs to a reciprocal of sine or reciprocal of cosine. So to figure that out, I'm going to start by finding or sketching the midline. So to sketch the midline, I measure the distance between this parabola right here and this parabola right here. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which makes this line the midline for that function. So this is the midline. The midline happens at y equals -1, which means d is equal to -1. So that is the first step. Second step, I'm going to try to sketch the graph of the function, of the reciprocal function. So here is a parabola here, and here is another parabola here. Here's another one here. So by looking at this graph, I can see this is a cosine function, which means the graph of this function belongs to the reciprocal of cosine, which is going to be secant x. Now, in order to find the equation for the graph, I'm going to find A, B, C, D. Again, A is the amplitude, so A is equal to, the amplitude in this case is 1, 2, 3, so 3, A is equal to 3. And then I want to find B. B comes from the period length. So in this case, the period length is equal to 1, 2, so 2. And I know this is equal to 2 pi over B. And then to solve for B, I'm going to interchange those or exchange these. So it's going to be B equals 2 pi over 2, which is equal to pi. So far we have A, we have B, and we have D. We need to find C. So C is the horizontal shift, or we can find it from the horizontal shift or the phase shift. The phase shift in this case is equal to 0, which we know that the phase shift is C over B equals 0. We have B as pi, so C over pi equals 0. If you cross multiply, you get C equals pi times 0, so C is equal to 0. So here we found A, B, C, and D. So the equation is going to follow the form y equals A secant bx minus c plus d. And we have all of them. So we're going to say the equation equals y equals 3 secant pi x minus 0 plus -1, which I can simplify to what we write as y equals 3 secant pi x minus 1. And that is the equation of the graph for number 7. Question number 8. We need to write an equation for this graph. So the first step is to determine the midline. Again, midline is equal to 4 in this case. I can tell because the distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that is exactly in the middle. So I can find D immediately to be equal to 4. Now, this graph, it looks like it's a graph of sine, but it is shifted to the right. So here is the sine, but it is shifted to the right 1, 2, 3 units to the right, which means the phase shift is equal to 3. Let me find A first, and then we're going to find the rest of the values. So A is the amplitude, and in this case, the amplitude is equal to 3. 1, 2, 3. B comes from the period length, and as I can see here, the period length from here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the period length is equal to 5, which is equal to 2 pi over b. From here we can solve for b. B is equal to 2 pi over 5. Now the phase shift comes from C, sorry, comes from the phase shift. The phase shift is equal to 3 in this case, and it's positive because we moved to the right 3 units. Phase shift is C over B equals 3. We know B, so C over 2 pi divided by 5 is equal to 3. Cross multiply, you get C equals 6 pi over 5. Cross multiply this way. 1 times C, 2 pi over 5 times 3, 6 pi over 5. So we have D, A, B, and C. We are ready to write our equation. So the equation is obviously for a cosecant since it's mentioned here. So because this is the reciprocal of sine, so we know it's cosecant, so that's accurate. Y equals A, that is 3, cosecant. B is 2 pi over 5, x minus C, 6 pi over 5, and then plus D in this case is 4. So that is going to be the equation for this specific graph. And then we found all of these. So the vertical stretch is 3, which is the amplitude for the reciprocal. Period length, we found that to be 5, and the midline is 4. And the equation of the function, we just found that. So the answer is y equals 3 cosecant 2 pi over 5x minus 6 pi over 5 plus 4. Question number 9. What is the period of the graph of function y equals cosecant 11 pi over 6x minus 2? We need to find a, b, c, d again. So a is 1, b is 11 pi over 6, c is 2, and d is 0. We know that the period is equal to 2 pi over b. So the period is equal to 2 pi divided by 11 pi over 6. I can rewrite this as 2 pi times 6 over 11 pi. Pi will cancel with pi. And 2 times 6 is 12 over 11. So the period length is 12 over 11. Number 10 is similar to number 9, so I'm going to skip that. Number 11 is similar to the previous two, so I will skip that as well. I will make a video to answer number 12, so I'll see you in a different video.